What's up, ladies and gentlemen, David here, and today I'm back with another segment of the audio files. Today I'm going to show you guys my approach on getting a metal bass tone. Now I know I'm not the first person to make a video on mixing metal bass or getting that metal bass tone, but the reason I wanted to make this is because I feel like I have a very simplistic approach compared to a lot of other people. For example, I don't split the bass in any way. I don't do the high and the low tone, I don't do the grit tone, I don't do any of that. I don't know, when it comes to bass, I just like to keep things simple. And that's what I'm going to show you today. Now before we start the video, I just want to let you know that all the plugins I'm going to use in this tutorial are completely free. I did not pay a dime for any of them. They're all plugins I found online, and most likely you probably already have them if you're into mixing metal, but if not, I will put the links to each plugin in the description below. So enough talking, let's get into it. Alright, so now we have the track loaded we're going to be using as an example, and just in case you're curious, the bass I used was an Epiphone Thunderbird ran into a Radial Pro DI with fairly fresh strings on it. Now on a side note, when it comes to bass, I believe that strings make a way bigger difference than they do on guitar. So if you have an old set of strings and you're trying to make it sound like that clanky metal bass that we all know and love, it's not gonna work. It will never work. Believe me, I have tried it. This is one area I believe you cannot skimp on when it comes to bass. So make sure you have a new set of strings when you start recording. Alright, so let's check out what the bass sounds like by itself with absolutely no processing. Alright, so I think that sounds pretty sick as is, but obviously we have a ways to go to get that bass tone we're looking for. So the first thing I'm going to reach for is this Loudmax right here, and this is basically a Waves L2 maximizer, but not $150. I saw how great the L2 was a while ago, and I didn't want to pay that money, so I found this that's completely free, works just as well in my opinion, and I've used it ever since. So basically what I'm going to do with this is crush the living shit out of the bass. Because I don't want any volume fluctuation at all. So as you can see here, I went pretty aggressive with the threshold because later in the song the bass is going to get a little quiet, so I'm just compensating for that. And then also I pulled back on the output, which you have to be very mindful of, because if it's too high you get a lot of unwanted noise. And actually let me show you what that sounds like. So you just get a lot of unwanted, like, just distortion and just static, so just be mindful of that. So the next thing we're going to go to is the Shp Bass Overdrive pedal, and this is modeled after the famous Sansamp DI that we all know and love, and this is going to give us a really aggressive, like, metally clink out of the bass tone. So let's dial this one in real quick. Alright, so side note, this blend knob blends the unprocessed tone with the processed tone from the pedal. I don't really like how it sounds unprocessed, so I leave it completely done. So I think that sounds pretty sick as is. So let's move on to the next part of this tone. So this one is going to be the Shp Basehead, and this is from Ignite Amps actually. They make a lot of great guitar and bass plugins, so definitely check them out. And this one's going to give us the really, like, the high-end bite and attack that you get from a regular bass amp. So I'm actually going to activate this while it's playing because it's a pretty huge difference. Alright, so as you can see, once we activate this one, the presence just goes through the roof and the bass is just a lot more in your face. So let's go ahead and kind of tweak this and get it how we want it. Alright, so that sounds pretty great there. I didn't go crazy with the controls because the main reason I want this bass head on here is for just the effect of the plugin itself, not really the controls within it. So Let's go ahead to the last step of this, well, pretty much last step, and that is the impulse loader. So I use bass cabinet impulses, and that's really going to bring the entire just tone together. It's going to warm it all up, and it's just going to sound like one cohesive tone. And you'll see exactly what I mean, but I'm also sorry because I don't know where I got these impulses from, and they're amazing. So yeah, any impulses you have will work great, but I don't know where I got these from, so I'm sorry. So let's just cycle through all the different mics and see what they sound like. So I'm digging that Neumann right there, so I'm going to actually toggle this off and on just so you can see the effect it gives on the entire tone. So as you can hear, it really just brings the entire tone together, and I feel like that's like pretty much the last step just to get that perfect bass tone. And now this would be more so when you're mixing the bass, but the very, very last thing would most likely be EQ. A few things to look for is definitely mud in the tone, which is going to be, for me, I find it mostly around the 150 to 300 hertz range. Yeah, I just find a lot of unwanted noise that I don't like there. And then also, if you want, you can kind of attack the mid-range and get more of that clank, more of that honk, and more just that mid-rangey tone out of the bass. And the one other thing that you might want to look into, aside from EQ, is actually multiband compression. That can really help in controlling the high and mid-range of the bass. Alright, so now for the final step of this, let's check out how this bass tone sounds in the mix. Let's go to a cooler part in the song, actually. Alright, and that's it. Now your bass tone sounds sick as fuck. So I really like that bass tone. It sounds aggressive, it sounds clear, it sits well in the mix, it covers the low end very well, and the best part is I didn't have to spend 3 hours tweaking just to get that tone. And that's it for today, guys. I really hope you liked this video. I hope you learned something. I hope it maybe helps you in the future. If so, let me know down in the comments. I really want to hear your thoughts. But as always, do not forget to subscribe. There's new videos every single week and you don't want to miss any content. So once again, thank you so much for watching. My name is David, and I'll see you next time.